we are talking about advocacy, and your advocacy seems to focus mainly on budgets and financing. It seems to me that most of you are working at what I would call a subnational level, districts and others. What doesn't seem to appear within the commitments we have is the government commitment on seeking local governments to commit finances for family planning. And that means that work is left to you and other partners that are working on family planning issues. But by just picking it from my memory, we have like 6 key commitments, but I want to concentrate on like 3, which are very important. The first one, our government committed and recommitted in 2017 to mobilize $20 million from partners for family planning services. So all of the monies that the development partners are putting in family planning services is part of the commitment. And from this report, unfortunately, it is not showing here. We have what we call the motion tracker. As of last week, we realized that we had surpassed the target by 200%. In other words, the money that has been committed to family planning from other partners other than government was over and above $40 million US. So that means we already surpassed that target for 2017. But that is supposed to be annual until 2020. So as far as we are concerned, that one we are on track, or we have achieved it. The other commitment was for the government of Uganda to commit $5 million US annually for purchase of reproductive health commodities to the last mile. Now that is what is most important. It's not only purchasing commodities and they are lying somewhere in warehouses, but it is about ensuring that what is procured reaches the last mile consumer, the end user, that woman who would like to take whichever commodity. When you look at that, this year we are delighted that we have managed to convince government to double the budget. When we are talking last year, we had been allocated 8 billion shillings for commodities, reproductive health commodities. The unfortunate bit was that the 100% of the 8 billion was used for mama kits and not for family planning commodities. So for us who are doing the advocacy, we are not very excited. Now this year, that amount has been doubled to 16 billion shillings. This year, I mean the budget which started in June, running up to end of June. It started in July, up to end of June. We've been allocated 16 billion shillings. And maybe our negotiation this time around has been a little better. So 40% of that is committed to procurement of FP commodities, and the 60% for other reproductive health commodities. But we know that there is the Uganda Reproductive, Maternal and Child Health Improvement Project that is starting in over 70 districts. I think initially this year they are working in 20 districts. That project, I don't know which districts are covered among the ones you are working with. I don't have that information on my fingertips.
I don't remember, but there are 2 out of the 8.
Okay. So for those where that project is, please be very, very keen to ensure that you play your role, because there is quite big money that is supposed to be coming to that. But that is not given That's not allocated, and this is the key point. It is not automatic that any district or any health center receives this money. It is performance-based. So if your health services, if your DHO, even private hospitals are entitled, even private providers, but it is performance-based. You express interest, you are assessed, and if your performance is convincing, you will receive this money for 5 years. But you may be in the project for even half a year. If you fail to account, if the quality of service is not satisfactory, that is how that project has been designed. But it's a Ministry of Health project. So through that project, there is quite a lot of money that is coming for commodities. So we are not so worried about the 40% of the 16 billion because we have been given all the conviction that we have more than enough money for commodities. And that brings my point home. This year I've written a position paper on budget, but up to now I've not even submitted it. I've highlighted, not even in yellow, but in red, the aspect of seeking for more money. I'm not sure we need more money this time now. Maybe we need a better use of our money. And then the question that always Minister of Finance is asking, how are you explaining the expiries, the overstocks, and so on? So if we do not promote this FP services for people to be able to come in bigger numbers to consume the commodities, we are very unlikely to convince anyone that we need more money. But when you analyze the allocation of the money that we get, like the commitment I've said, it is for procurement of RH commodities and delivery to the last mile. It is not about more community mobilization. Is that clear? It is not for demand creation. That money is very, very specific. So we have a problem. And probably for you who are working in the districts, I would encourage that you don't only ask districts to allocate money, but they should be allocating money for demand generation. They should be attending more to the PHC area. That will enable people to come. They should make sure that probably the human resource they have can deal with side effects, misconceptions, have right information, that kind of things. Because surely the commodities will come. And we appreciate the lack of commodities. The number of commodities are lacking even in public health facilities. But I think the procurement processes are going on, and at one point the commodities will come. The question will be, are there people who are willing to consume? Yesterday, we part of the national task force that is trying to pilot. We would like injectables to be administered by drug shops. And you know, in this country, legally, drug shops are not supposed to administer injections. But we are working with National Drug Authority and Ministry of Health to have drug shops trained, verified, certified to provide FP injectables. So we are seeing a declining trend in terms of access for those who would like to have these services. And as UFPC, we are organizing a meeting before we break for Christmas to engage all the key stakeholders to ensure that at least something is done, whether it means having some of the drugs from the public facilities to go to the private. Because at the end of the day, we hear political discussions, issues of drugs, medicines are being stolen. It doesn't help. Some people have said nature does not allow for creation of virtue. Nature does not allow virtue. If we ask today, How many of you have had complaints that quotum is being stolen? The malaria drug. Is it common? So if, for me, from a policy analysis point of view, I would ask, why is it not stolen? Have we stopped people suffering from malaria? Most likely not. The malaria has remained probably at the same level, so has dropped maybe slightly. But the point is, it is available. You get it? Because it is available everywhere, there is no point in anyone stealing it. It's unimportant, it's as important as salt, but because it is available and accessible and affordable, no one steals it. Are we together? So even for some of these things, when we are having all those issues around beyond FP commodities, but when we are talking about essential medicines, the most important solution to stealing medicines is to have them available. When you create a shortage, you create demand. The moment you create demand, you create a market. Simple. Simple economics. So when we say, for me, if I was with the Minister of Health and he says, people are stealing our drugs. In fact, if one day I had a chance to interact with the group from Office of the President who are stealing drugs, I'll tell them, stop wasting the fuel going to health centers talking about drugs being stolen. Ensure the drugs are there in enough stocks. Because when you don't have anyone going behind to ask to pay money to get that drug, why will you steal it? You will not. It's obvious. So that is the solution. So, in terms of these commitments, we are moving, but there are still challenges. Yesterday I was very pleased. We were at the RMNCH conference, which was presided over by the wife of the president. And then the Minister of Health said they have completed with the process of finalizing the SRHR policy. Because it's a very important policy when you are talking about family planning. The bigger challenge, and it is one of those commitments that were made, there were two: the SRHR policy and the adolescent health policy. Now we have a big problem with the adolescent health policy. Everyone seems to disagree on how best we should help our adolescents as it relates to health, to their own health issues. And that is one of the biggest challenges. If it has refused, don't worry. I know those, I have the commitments in my head, so don't worry about it. I remember them very well. So, we have a challenge in terms of the commitments. That third one, we are not performing well at all. We are somewhere with the adolescent, with the report, with SRHR policy. We are almost nowhere. Unfortunately, the policy was drafted. Actually, we met with the ministers of Uganda Family Planning Consortium way back in March, and we agreed the roadmap for finishing, for completing this policy. And herself said she had read an input. Then between somewhere, somebody came in and said they wanted to do a landscape to inform the process of developing the policy. And for me, that process of doing a landscape has completely derailed the process. To the extent that we don't even know whether we'll have a policy or not. So, it is an area that needs a lot of work. And for me, knowing that many of you are obvious religious leaders, you are interacting a lot with religious institutions, we need to come up to a point where we sit and agree. Where we want, I'm very religious. And I believe we should do all things that help us to grow a stronger and moral society, but are also scientific. The first lady yesterday was telling us the family is very important, and I agree entirely. But we should be questioning what kind of families are we having today. I live along the bypass. And I sometimes drive very early, like 4 a.m. If I'm heading to Mbarara, sometimes I don't want to sleep in those places. I go very early in the morning. I can trust myself to start driving at 3 a.m. and I can be in Mbarara and tidy. So, what happens is we have a breakdown of our families, the way our families are naturally. People leave for work at 4 a.m. We know some people work from 1 a.m. and they are not back until midnight or even 11 or whatever. So with such a context, we need to find very practical solutions that are able to help our society to naturally and solve the problems that we have. So, when we have arguments about let's counsel our children, let's nurture our children to be very religious, I entirely agree. But we must remember that there are those who are not privileged to have anyone to give those guidance. So, 95% or more of this country are religious. But maybe we have a 5%, and for me as a policy analyst, when you are developing a policy for the country, you don't only mind the 95, you also take care of the 5%. It's like when you have 10 children, and 9 are educated, are very disciplined, are good. The one child who is not good might be a bigger problem for the family than the 9. And therefore my argument is, we need to help everyone to understand, as we build the moral fabric, we need to take care of those who are not morally upright. We need to mind that child who has conceived at 13. Now the circumstances of how she arrives at conceiving at 13 vary from family to family. Maybe negligence, it may be the socialization, it may be lack of care at all. So these kids, I find girls selling things on the bypass there, and when you ask, why are you not at school? He says, I have to drop out of school to look after my 4 kids, my 4 siblings. My mother has died of HIV and my father, and we have nowhere to go and no relatives. So what do you do with that girl? Do you just leave them to nature? Now when you talk about parents, which parents are we talking about? Now this is where we are having a problem. When we talk about adolescent health, we are failing to appreciate the social context, the social landscape that we are living with. So, I come back again to the point of the call that is coming up. We need to think very strategically and think out of the box. Which things can we do as religious institutions? And it is laughable sometimes. You find that people are arguing about something very small, a statement. For the SRHR policy to have it where it is now, it took us 2 days of engaging MPs. We went all the way to Mbali, and we told the minister, you are the one who is going to defend this policy in the cabinet. It is you who is going to defend it in the parliament. For us, we've done the donkey work of mobilizing for you the MPs. They are here at our cost. Come and battle it with them. If I put for you the voices here, you will see how hard the task is going to be. I've never seen a minister and an MP sitting in a meeting like this, called by civil society, from 8:30 to 7:30 p.m. None of us left that room, and the debate was very heated. But when we finished, you go with a document like this, like now I'm taking you quickly through the commitments. The MPs said, wait a minute, we want to see that document, and we are happy to read it word by word. They took away even the chairpersonship of that session from the minister to the chairperson of the Health Committee, Dr. Bukenya. And we had to review the whole program. It was meant to run between 9 and 1. We ended up running the program from about 9, the real starting on the document. We finished at 7:45 p.m. That's when the minister left the room. That is one policy. Now I imagine what will happen with the FBH, which is more controversial. But we can always help, especially the religious groups. People call us, and they call they call a few people. Now I want you to go back, because these policies affect all of us. We should turn around the way things work. Me, I'm looking forward to the day, for example, the Episcopal Conference. Okay? We'll say we have issues with the sexuality framework, and we've put it on our agenda for discussion. Can somebody come and listen to our issues? Are we together? Because if I showed you what we did in Mbale, the MPs were very critical to the extent that they were even looking at, what do we call them? When you are writing a document, the footnotes. I can assure you, they were looking at, you want to see this word in this document. Now, if we go that way, it is costly. But when you say, this is the policy now we have on adolescent health, everyone says it is accepted. So I'm happy to carry this document and talk about it, because I know what is the content there. I believe in it. You get my point? And for me, I think no one, the Interreligious Council will not do it, because it's a coordination thing. The person who needs to understand some of these issues related to family planning is the catechist. Are we together? Is the imam, who comes on Friday without anyone around and says, please produce so many children or don't produce them. That is the approach. And for me, that is what I think is lacking in this whole process. People have been in family planning, I don't know for how many years, but me, I always tell them, I think you keep doing the same game the same way and expect different results. Where are they going to come from? Okay, the last commitment I wanted to talk about is relating to ensuring that the human resource, there are available human resources for family planning, to deliver family planning services, especially in the hard-to-reach areas. I've had someone works in Toronto. Whenever I'm driving to Undi, I have chills going down my spine. I wonder when you go deep into Toronto, what happens if you go off that main road. I don't know. But I also know Kanunga, I know Kabale. I know those communities around Lake Munyonyi, I know those areas. Do we have providers? Across here, if you go to across the lake, 30 minutes, you are into Wusi Island. You find very old vehicles there, because very few vehicles can cross and go there. Transport is impossible. The health, I don't know whether it is easy for a doctor to live there and work there, unless they are doing a private clinic. But government is a challenge. How do we make sure those people have services? Now, that was the commitment under here. And maybe the hard-to-reach we are able to assess, but at least the capacity of midwives to provide family planning services, there has been a lot of training over the last 12 months. So that one, we are on track. So we are progressing against the commitments. And I would like to encourage you. The commitments document is very easy. It's not a full page, it's half a page when you take all of them. Just familiarize yourselves with them, because this is what the government has committed to do, right from the president up to anyone else. So please, I will share the commitment through Jackie. Familiarize yourselves with them and hold whoever you are working with at the district to say, You as a district, what are you contributing to the achievement of this committee? Any small contribution is recognized. 2, if there is any contribution to them, let it be reported, because that's what you want to know. How are we moving as a country towards achieving? And I think for those who are asking, how did we get to this present, I think it is based on this. Now, this is a report that gives you the whole where we are. It is still in draft, but I know that finally we'll have the whole. Okay, I have it. It was showing here. So I will share that. It's called Motion Tracker. It links all the commitments of 2012 and the renewed one of 2017. And then I can also give you a bonus report on what we call every woman, every child, because the FP commitments are linked to the every woman, every child commitments, and then you see how we are performing. But on the whole, we are on track. We are moving to positively towards what the commitments are. The last one, I was requested to comment a little bit on the landscape. A lot of the information in the landscape, I have the landscape here, and it is for AFP. Good enough. We just revised the landscape in Kabale a week before people went for the Rwanda conference. The only observation I would like to make relates especially to our political. It has the religious side and the political side. This resistance that we are having about the sexual and reproductive, the sexuality education framework, the adolescent health policy, those are now very detrimental. From my opinion, they are not big things. What we are lacking is the candidness to come and sit together and listen to each other and agree. When we are writing policies, there is a point you say this cannot be. Let me keep it for the next revision, but let the policy carry on. Are we together? So we need to agree on those small things. That is one of the landscape aspects that is likely to very much threaten the way we move on family planning. Maybe the very last one is a number of districts have been able to develop these CIPs. I've just seen this. I was mapping. I don't have Chenjojo in my list of districts which have done. And I'm happy that I've received this. I needed to know who did it because we are having a DCIP review meeting somewhere before it goes for Christmas, organized by the ministry. And for me, my role is to map which districts have these DCIPs so that we are able to know how many have and don't have. My request is, can you get now an extra mile in your objectives? Like you've developed it. Can we work with the Chenjojo district to preside over all of the implementing partners, not to plan from Kampala like you've come to, but to sit with the districts and identify. Maybe you not limit them from implementing other activities, but can they identify one or two activities from this plan? Are we together? So that the document ceases to be just a document somewhere, but IPs are supporting its implementation. Is that clear? You don't seem to. Does it make sense? Yes. I mean, every partner will say, I'm coming to do some work on family planning. So can the district, even if out of 25% of the work you are coming to do in the district is related, only 25 is from this. At the end of the day, we'll say 10 partners came to the district. Each one picked an activity from here. So 5 of our activities from this DCIP are implemented or are funded and therefore implemented. Are we together? Because there is no way a district is ever going to get standalone money to implement this. So once you have it, make sure you ask the district to ask all the implementing partners to use this as their planning tool for family planning.